at Chapter 15 related questions. So let's just start with number one. Number one says Wallace Corporation needs an additional worker on a multi-year project. It could hire an employee for a $30,000 annual salary. Alternatively, it could engage an independent contractor for a $35,000 annual fee. Which of the following is true? So basically, I guess they've done some figuring and said if we hired somebody, we'd need to pay them $30,000 salary to get somebody. Or if we just want to hire it out or get a contractor to do the job, the fee we've been quoted is $35,000. Right, so which of the following is true? So again, with a lot of these, we're looking for the true statement. So A says, Wallace must withhold payroll taxes from the salary or the fee. So again, you need to pay attention to wording on some of these. So if it had just said Wallace must withhold payroll taxes from the salary, you'd be okay. The key is or the fee. Right, the salary would be if they were an employee, so you would have withholdings. The fee, though, would be contractor. So you would not withhold on paying the fee. You will not withhold any kind of payroll type taxes. B says, Wallace must withhold federal and state income tax from the salary or the fee. Right, so again, we're seeing the same thing that comes into play. Must withhold federal and state income tax, yes, on the salary, but not the fee, because the fee would be a contractor, not an employee. C says, Wallace must issue a Form W-2 to the employee or the independent contractor. Right, so employee, yes. The contractor gets a 1099, so that's not the same. And the reason is 1099, although I guess when it's issued could have some tax withheld, but most of the time won't. The W-2 goes back to a different form because it does have those taxes withheld. So the answer to this is that none of the above are true statements for various reasons as we just looked at. Number two says, which of the following statements concerning the employer to employee relationship is true? A says an employee has the right to direct and control how her duties are performed. Right, so an employee, no, an employee does not have control. Right, if you wanted to change it to a true statement, that would be a contractor would have the ability to direct and control her duties and see how they're performed. B says an employer generally sets the employee's work schedule. Right, so the employer generally sets the employee's work schedule. Right, that's actually a true statement. C says at the end of each tax year, an employer issues a Form 1099 to each employee. Right, we just looked at that in this last one. You issued W-2s to the employees, 1099s to the contractors. So that's not correct. And D says an employee must pay self-employment taxes. And again, I understand this is going to take some, just looking at the chapter a little bit and looking at those slides. Employee does not pay. That would be a contractor. And I guess we should say a contractor who files on Schedule C to be most correct. Right, so that's not an employee that must pay self-employment tax. Remember, the employee already has the payroll and income tax withheld throughout the year or for each payment. Number 3 says, which of the following statements concerning the client to independent contractor relationship is false? So in this case, we're looking for a false statement. A says a client may only accept or reject the final results of the work of an independent contractor. Right, and I know you can get kind of wordy, but yes, so they say, Scott, we want you to come do this work, and I come and do it, and they have the ability to reject it, but they shouldn't be trying to direct me on a minute by minute basis. So that's actually true. B says an independent contractor is entitled to all the fringe benefits offered to the client's employees. Right? That should be a red flag, right? That's not true. C says at the end of each tax year, a client issues a 1099 to an independent contractor, reporting the compensation paid to the year. Finally, they got that right, right? That's true. The contractor gets the 1099. D says an independent contractor must pay both income tax and self-employment tax. Right? So yes, the income they get is going to be income, and then they're also going to be subject to self-employment tax because they were not contributing any type of payroll tax throughout. And again, IRS would be happy, I believe, if we were all employees. We'd all probably be happier tax-wise if we were independent contractors. 4 says, which of the following statements regarding employee versus independent contractor status is false? So I'm going to let you take a minute here to read through each of these. So hit pause, and then I'll let you know which one is correct. All right, so the one that's correct is actually C. The IRS has a higher probability of collecting income and payroll taxes from an independent contractor than from an employee. That is a false statement because the employee is having the withholdings throughout the year, so they have motivation to file that return, right? And they're actually collecting it evenly. The independent contractor, you wait till they file the return and, hope they file it correctly, and then they're going to send in the income and self-employment tax.